Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to game number 3 of the day here at the Joan Lenahan Field at the Under-16 Baseball Canada Girls Invitational, or 16U Girls Invitational Championships here from Bedford, Nova Scotia, the Joan Lenahan Field. My name is Michael Petter. Thanks so much for tuning in here on 360 Live. We've got an all-Atlantic Canada matchup for you here in Group C. It is Newfoundland Labrador, the visiting team, coming in with a record of 0-1 after dropping a game earlier today against the Nova Scotia 2 team, taking on Prince Edward Island, who had a shocking victory over New Brunswick 12-10. They were trailing 8-1 going into the bottom of the 6th inning. 11 runs in that bottom of the 6th turned an 8-1 deficit into a 12-8 lead. New Brunswick got 2 back in the top of the 7th, but it was not enough. And PEI comes in now with a record of 1-0. New Brunswick, as mentioned, Newfoundland Labrador with their record of 0-1. Newfoundland and Labrador are the visiting team for this game. They're in their black jerseys with the gray piping around maroon numbers and the gray and maroon letters on the front as well. PEI in the green, taking the field as they are the home team with the white Old English P on the front, numbers and letters in white as well, letters on the front, or numbers on the front and back. Let's take you through the batting order for Newfoundland and Labrador. Megan Bennett, the left fielder, will lead off. Batting second, Hannah Legge, the shortstop. Batting third, the catcher, Jada Lee. Batting fourth, the pitcher, Maddie Healy. Batting fifth, second baseman, Claire Dwyer. The 6th spot goes to extra hitter Mackenzie Byrne. And then 7, 8, 9, and 10 is third baseman Hope Bishop-Frizzell, right fielder Joelle Vokey, first baseman Holly Russell, and center fielder Brianna Saunders. Checking out the outfield, or the fielders for Prince Edward Island. Starting in the outfield, Kirsten Rogers will be playing left. Victoria Surrett in center, Gina Pickering in right. The infield from third to first goes Selena Ford, Emily Gardner, and then on the right side of the infield, second baseman Alyssa Perry and first baseman Katie McDonald. Behind the plate is Lily Atkins, and on the mound, Claire Keogh getting the start in this one. And taking a look at the third team out there, that is our umpires, of course. It is Sue Douthright, and if I'm mispronouncing that, I do apologize, Sue. Sue Douthright behind the plate, Ingrid Helmke at third base, and Skylar Blanchette over at first. So those are your officials for today's game. And let's get this one ready to go. First pitch about to come in as Megan Bennett steps in for the first pitch of the game. First pitch comes in at 3:49 p.m. for those of you who care about such stats. And it misses low for a ball. 1-0 the count. So we're about 19 minutes behind schedule. It was a scheduled 3:30 start, but both of our previous games ended up going just a touch longer than first anticipated. That one out to left center field, and it's going to get through the fielders all the way almost to the fence. And a leadoff double for Megan Bennett gets things started here for Team Newfoundland and Labrador. And that will bring up Hannah Legge. Legge from Cowhead, Newfoundland Labrador. It's being pronounced leg on the in-house system, but I believe it's Legge, and if I am mispronouncing that, I do apologize. I mean no offense by any mispronunciation of any names. That one misses low, ball 1. Legge says she will be starting grade 9 this coming fall and is one of several multi-sport athletes that we're seeing in this tournament. Also plays AAA hockey with the Western Warriors throughout the winter. That pitch just misses inside, and the count goes to 2-0. And again, if I am mispronouncing it, I do apologize, but I do believe, and again, I wouldn't be the first time and certainly wouldn't be the last time I'd be wrong on something. 3-0 now the count here on Leggy. If you want to correct me, there are a couple of different ways you can do that. One, you can send me a tweet. My Twitter handle, PetterPC_sports. Or just go on to Twitter and search Petter Picto Sports. You can find me that way. You can also find me the same way on Facebook, Petter Picto Sports on Facebook. And there's a 4-pitch walk to Leggy. And that puts runners at first and second with nobody out for Jada Lee from St. John's. Lee stepping in. Named the top female baseball player in 2018 for Baseball Newfoundland Labrador. Certainly a great accomplishment there. Has a chance to contribute in a big way here early in this one. Actually, runners are on the corners. I missed Bennett getting down to third there at some point. And with runners on the corners, Leggy gets down to second, uncontested, so that Bennett has to stay at third. And here's the pitch to Lee. Next pitch coming to Lee. That catches just enough of her jersey. I don't know that it actually hit her, but it hit her jersey. And so that will load the bases with nobody out. That'll bring up Maddie Healy as Newfoundland Labrador off to a ideal start for them, getting the bases loaded with nobody out. Now the question is to make sure that they can convert. Healy, another product of St. John's, takes the first pitch. Swing and a miss there. And believe we're at a count of 1-1. Keogh pitching in this game after pitching briefly, I do believe, if memory serves, in the game earlier this morning as well. 2-1 now the count on Healy. As Keogh gets set and delivers. Swung on and missed. And actually that was strike 3, so I missed a strike somewhere else along the way. I apologize for that. That's the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Claire Dwyer. Dwyer from Grand Falls, Windsor. Stepping in with the bases loaded and now 1 away. That pitch misses just low, ball 1. Says she wants to join the RCMP when she's older, particularly working in forensic studies. Certainly a worthwhile goal there. There's a strike on the inside corner, and the count goes to 1-1. One other game in progress right now, Nova Scotia 2 and New Brunswick, the other two teams in this pool. They're playing over at Robert Lenahan Field. That one fouled back, and the count 1-2. The Nova Scotia 2 team with a record of 1-0, leading that game 4-2 over New Brunswick. New Brunswick trying to avoid falling to 0-2. In Pool C, just the winner of the group will advance to quarterfinal play. In Pool B, the first and second place teams advance, and in Pool A, it's the first, second, and third place teams that get to go on to the quarterfinals for spots in the top 6. That one misses high and inside, and the count goes to 2-2. There are 3 pools of 4 teams each. All 10 provinces represented. Nova Scotia has a second team, as does Quebec. That one misses inside, and the count now full 3-2. The Nova Scotia second team is comprised mostly of slightly younger players, a few players who would fit in this U16 age group, but some younger than that as well. Likewise for Quebec. For Quebec, it basically is their U14 program. As the walk to Dwyer drives in a run, as Bennett comes in to score, Leggy now at third, Lee at second, and Dwyer at first with the RBI walk. And a meeting out at the mound. And that will, Mackenzie Byrne will be the next batter due up. Byrne from Mount Pearl was named the MVP of the provincials back in 2018. Says she'd like to be a lawyer when she gets out of school. Now we're having more of a conversation out at the mound, and somewhat animated is Keogh. Looked like it was all in good fun. New Brunswick now has taken a lead on Nova Scotia 2 by a score of 6-4. Just as I hit refresh on my scoreboard there, all of a sudden, boom, big switch. There's a shot out to center field. That will drop in for a base hit, and it will get past the center fielder, Surratt. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. Coming around all the way from first, Dwyer will come in to score as a bases-clearing double for Mackenzie Byrne. Breaks this one open early. It is 4-0. Here we're still in the top of the first inning, just 1 out. However, we saw Prince Edward Island earlier this morning come back from a 7-run deficit to earn a victory. So just because they trail by 4 here in the first doesn't mean that this game is over. Hope Bishop Frizzell standing in now. First pitch to her is down in the dirt, and that allows Mackenzie Byrne to get down to third. Bishop Frizzell from Conception Bay South. Now we have a balk, and that will bring Byrne in to score. It's 5-0. So about as good of a start as you could hope for from a Newfoundland Labrador perspective. 5 runs already here with just 1 out in the top of the first. That pitch catches the outside corner, and the count on Bishop Frizzell goes to 1-1. That one missing inside, and the count 2-1. Both of these teams with pretty quick turnarounds after starting the tournament this morning. That one sent into foul territory, and the count now 2-2. Keogh throwing quite a few pitches here already in this top of the first inning. That one misses high, and the count runs full, 3-2. Bishop Frizzell standing in the left-hander's batter's box. Fouls that one off. Out of play first base side. And gets to extend the at-bat a little further. That one driven down the right field line, but hooking foul. And it will still be 3-2. That one popped up. And getting over, but not able to make the catch is the second baseman, Perry. As that one will drop in, Bishop Frizzell getting to first base on the error, and that will bring up Joelle Vokey. Vokey stepping in as the wind picking up here. Vokey from Chapels Cove, Newfoundland. Been part of Team Newfoundland 3 years in a row at this event. The wind blowing in from somewhat across from center field towards right. Throw over to first. And able to get back was Bishop Frizzell as the throw ended up being in her feet just a little bit there. Keogh delivers. Runner going. Pitch misses inside. Throw down to second. Gets away. Bishop Frizzell will hold at second with the stolen base. And Vokey goes ahead in the count 1-0. Still just one away here in the first inning. That one will miss high, ball 2, 2-0. Keogh with a couple of checks back to second base. Now will deliver the pitch. And that one hooking and landing in fair territory on down the left field line. Dropping in for a single. That puts runners at the corners. Bringing up Holly Russell. Russell, the first baseman for Team New Brunswick, or Team Newfoundland and Labrador. Russell, another player from Grand Falls, Windsor. And with runners on the corners, no big surprise, the runner going from first and not drawing a throw. So that Frizzell has to stay at third. And the pitch, a ball. Meanwhile, Prince Edward Island have someone warming up in the bullpen here already as Keogh not getting quite the start she was hoping for here in this one. There's a strike and the count goes to 1-1 on Russell. 5 runs already in with runners on second and third and just one away here in this top of the first inning. That one popped up and out of play, third base side. And the count goes to 1-2. Keogh gets herself set and delivers. That misses outside, 2-2 the count. Russell going to be heading to high school this fall. Want to wish her and all the players from all of these teams scholastic success the upcoming school year. The count goes full on Russell. It's wonderful to have those athletic achievements, certainly, but to have the academics to back it up. And speaking of athletic achievements, there's a shot all the way to the wall by Russell. She'll get into second base standing up with a 2-run double, and it's now 7-0. And that will bring up Brianna Saunders. And I believe PEI will get that new pitcher out onto the mound. Yes, they will. An unfortunate start for Keogh as she will come out, and coming in will be Ella Nicholson. Nicholson will, who had been listed in the lineup as the extra hitter will move to pitcher, and Keogh, who had been the pitcher, will, I presume, just take the extra hitter spot in the batter's order. And so Nicholson makes her first appearance on the mound after playing first base in the game earlier this morning against New Brunswick. Nicholson from Kensington, PEI. Will be starting the IB diploma program this fall. That's certainly we talk about academic success. Going into the IB program, that's a highly laudable effort for her and for any student. So as Nicholson finishes up her warm-up tosses, the unfortunate news for Keogh, her pitching line, just 1/3 of an inning. 7 runs so far. She's also responsible for the runner out at second base. 4 hits, 2 walks, a hit batsman. And 1 person who reached on an error. And 1 strikeout. So Brianna Saunders now will step in. First pitch to Saunders, misses. Saunders, another one of those players from Grand Falls, Windsor. Wants to be a forensic scientist or criminal investigator. Got quite a few people looking to get into the world of policing. Russell takes third with that ball down in the dirt to Saunders. While waiting in the on-deck circle is Megan Bennett. That one fouled back and out of play and into a vehicle, which again gives us a chance to remind you that if you do come down to the beautiful Robert Lenahan and Joan Lenahan Fields here in Bedford, if you come down throughout the rest of this weekend, there is parking a little bit further away from the fields, but if you park down here right at the field area, you do so at your own risk. Just like I'm doing right now. That one misses, and that'll be ball 4 to Saunders as she takes the walk, putting runners at the corners, bringing up Megan Bennett. Bennett led off the game 21 minutes ago now in the top of this first inning with a double. She came around to score, up for the second time. And as is the case with runners on the corners, heading down to second with the first pitch is Saunders. And Bennett takes a first pitch strike. Runners at second and third now with 1 out for Bennett. There's a grounder that gets through the left side of the infield. That will score 2 runs, a 2 RBI single for Bennett. And it is now 9-0. But again, we've seen Prince Edward Island come back from big deficits already once in this tournament. Hannah Leggy, or Leg, again, if anybody can give me a definitive on that pronunciation, by all means send me a tweet or send me a message on Facebook. Search me up, Petter Picto Sports. She walked and scored her first time up earlier this inning. Takes a ball there and is ahead in the count 1-0. And there's a balk called on Nicholson. That will send Bennett down to second base. And now we're going to get a meeting at the mound to, again, maybe just calm things down a little bit here. And at this level, when we're talking about U16, these are 16U, these are still young athletes who are very much in the process of learning the game. They are skilled athletes. Certainly they are high caliber athletes, but they are still quite young, and there are elements of the game that they are learning. And for young pitchers, the mechanics of making sure you don't balk is one of those things that is being learned. There's a grounder right back to Nicholson. She'll throw it down to first for the second out of the inning. Bennett advances to third on the play, and that will allow Jada Lee to come back up for her second time. She was hit by a pitch her first time up and came around to score. Comes up with a runner on third and 2 away. And the first pitch misses outside, ball 1. Nine runs in here in this top of the first inning for Team Newfoundland and Labrador. But we've seen Prince Edward Island put up 11 in a half inning in this tournament. 1-1 now, the count on Lee. I guess the point I'm trying to make is don't turn this game off just yet. Oh, thank you, Holly. It is Leg, not Leggy. Thank you for that. There's another single out to center field as Lee gets on base with the RBI single. That will make it 10-0. And Healy will come up to bat. She's 0 for 1, having struck out. Thank you to Lynn Mosier as well for that, as both Lynn and Holly gave me the update on the pronunciation. That throw over to first gets away, and that will allow Lee to get down to second. So Lee advances to second on the throwing error. Another runner in scoring position. Swing and a miss there. And 0-1 the count on Healy. Nicholson, the second PEI pitcher here in the top of the first inning. There's a strike, and the count now 0-2 on Healy. Grounder down to third. Throw across the diamond on target and in time for out number 3. But a big start to the game for Team Newfoundland Labrador. 10 runs in the first inning on 6 hits. There were 2 errors and 1 runner left on base. We've played half an inning, and Team Newfoundland Labrador up on Team Prince Edward Island by a score of 10-0. Let's take you through the PEI batting order. Leading off, it'll be their catcher, Lily Atkins. Batting second, the extra hitter, Claire Keogh. Batting third, playing center field, Victoria Surrett. Batting fourth, third baseman, Selena Ford. Batting fifth, the pitcher, Ella Nicholson. Batting sixth, Gina Pickering. Batting seventh, Emily Gardner. Batting eighth, Kirsten Rogers. Batting ninth, Katie McDonald. And batting in the 10 spot, Alyssa Perry. Setting the defense for Team Newfoundland Labrador. Starting in the outfield, Megan Bennett in left. Center field, Brianna Saunders. And right field, Joelle Vokey. Around the infield from third to first, Hope Bishop Frizzell, Hannah Legg, Claire Dwyer, and Holly Russell. Behind the plate for this afternoon's game, it's Jada Lee, and on the mound, Maddie Healy gets the start for Team Newfoundland Labrador as the right-hander takes her warm-up pitches. As, again, about as good of a start as you could hope for from a Newfoundland Labrador perspective. And for PEI, the saving grace is that they put up an 11-run inning in their game against New Brunswick earlier this morning, putting up 12 runs in total, so they know they can score. Their offense can be just as potent as the offense of Newfoundland Labrador was there in the first. As we'll see what Healy has to offer. Healy aspiring to be a sports physiotherapist when she gets out of school. Here comes Lily Atkins to lead things off for PEI. Atkins from Stratford. Takes the first pitch. Swings and misses there. And I do believe we're at a count of 1-1, which we get confirmation of that. Thank you. That one misses high and tight, and the count goes to 2-1. Atkins was the youngest player at this tournament back in 2017. Takes another one outside, and the count now 3-1. And that one catches the bottom of the zone, and the count runs full, 3-2. Healy delivering from a full windup. The payoff pitch. Called third strike. As Healy gets her first strikeout of the game. That'll bring up Claire Keogh. Keogh from Cape Traverse. Looking to be an architect. That one fouled back. Up and out of play. I remember reading through these bios on the different players, and I saw one who said she wanted to be a sports broadcaster, play-by-play, and I'm like, hey, there we go, someone with an aspiration that I can understand. These ones wanting to be doctors and lawyers and architects and whatnot, that was a little bit beyond me, certainly, growing up. Keogh down in the count now, 1-2. The 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Back-to-back Ks. And Healy not only getting a couple of strikeouts, but doing so in pretty efficient fashion. Just 10 pitches to get the first two outs. That'll bring up Surrett. Victoria Surrett from Darnley, PEI. And first pitch swinging there, grounded down to second, over to first in time. And an 11-pitch inning for Healy. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We've played one complete, and Newfoundland and Labrador lead it 10-0 due up. For the team from the Rock, it'll be Dwyer, Byrne, and Bishop Frizzell. And if anyone gets on, then Vokey. As that wind continues to gust here in Bedford. Again, a big thanks for everyone tuning in here on 360 Live. We really appreciate having you all here along for the ride. We'll have all of the games from this tournament here on 360 Live, as depending on which field your team is playing on, just click on the link for either the Robert Lenahan field or the Joan Lenahan field. This one, of course, is Joan Lenahan. The slightly smaller dimensioned field. 259 to straightaway center. 218 down the right field line. And I think maybe 225 or so down the left field line, whereas the dimensions over in the other field there, 268 down the right field line. Can't quite see the straightaway center or left field markers there, but a slightly bigger field. We've seen some hard hit balls so far here at Joan Lenahan this morning, but with the wind blowing sort of across from left field to right, or almost in from left center, we haven't seen any get over the fence. We've seen a couple hit the fence on one hop, but nothing beyond the fence yet, although we're still only in day number 1 here. Nicholson out for her second inning of work after coming in relief with 1 out. We'll face Claire Dwyer to lead things off. Dwyer walked, which drove in a run back in that first inning. She also came around to score herself. And the first pitch at the top of the second inning misses. And Dwyer goes ahead in the count 1-0. The 1-0 pitch coming from Nicholson. And that misses outside, 2-0. Two balls, no strikes on the right-hander. There's a grounder down to third, gathered up. Strong throw across the infield in time as Ford puts that one right on target. For the first out of inning number 2, that'll bring up Mackenzie Byrne. She had a 2-run double. A 3-run double, bases clearing with the bases loaded. Swings and misses there. And Nicholson's ahead in the count 1-0. Or 0-1, Had the right I said the right person ahead in the count and then put the numbers in the wrong order. That one misses high and outside. 1-1 now the count. As the left-handed Byrne standing in with the bases empty. Grounds that one down the right side of the infield. Flip to the second baseman covering, but not quite in time. Byrne beats it out for the infield single. The slow roller didn't allow for enough time for McDonald to get the flip over to Perry. And that will bring up Hope Bishop Frizzell. She reached on an error her first time up and came around to score. Runner going with the first pitch. Throw down to second, not in time. As that pitch missed down and in to Bishop Frizzell. Getting set is Nicholson. That's a line shot out into right center. That will get knocked down by Pickering, but it ends up going all the way to the wall. Anyway, Pickering goes to get it in. And stopping at second base with her second, or with a double, is Bishop Frizzell. Byrne comes in to score. An RBI double makes it 11-0, and that'll bring up Joelle Vokey. She singled and came around to score. That one, a grounder to short, picked up, throw across in time, and then heading down to third after the throw from Gardner is Bishop Frizzell. That's 2 away. That'll bring up Russell. She had a 2-run double her first time up. As the lefty steps in with a runner on third and 2 away. That misses outside, ball 1. Nicholson delivers. That'll miss high, ball 2, 2-0. The 2-0 pitch, grounded just inside the first base line, picked up by the first baseman McDonald for the third out of the inning. So Newfoundland Labrador add 1 more. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We've played 1.5, and Team Newfoundland Labrador leads Prince Edward Island 11-0. Due up in the bottom of the second, it'll be Selena Ford, Ella Nicholson, and Gina Pickering. Quick check on the score in the other game. It's still 6-4 for New Brunswick. Not quite sure what inning they're in, but that is the score line. Again, really appreciate having everybody along here on 360 Live. I've had a couple of people click on links of videos from the games from last year. Those are if you're finding the video on my Facebook page, the videos that are on my Facebook page are from last year's tournament. Last year, 360 Live was only doing one field, and through my Facebook page, I was doing the other field. This year, I'm working directly with 360 Live. So if you find a video on my Facebook page from the 16U National Championship Girls Invitational Tournament, it's last year's tournament, and you don't want to watch those games to find out what's going on now, obviously. As Healy finishing up her warm-up pitches to get ready for the bottom of the second. Selena Ford will lead things off. Ford from Summerside in her third 16U Girls Invitational Nationals. Ford was the starting pitcher for Prince Edward Island this morning. Takes the first pitch high, ball 1. Next pitch, driven out to left field. Leadoff single for Ford. And that'll bring up Ella Nicholson. Nicholson, the 2017 Baseball PEI Junior Female Player or Athlete of the Year. That one misses outside and gets past the catcher Lee, and heading down to second base is Ford. And like I said earlier, we've seen this Island team, Prince Edward Island, put up 11 runs in an inning, so the fact that they trail by 11 does not mean that Newfoundland can make any assumptions here. There's a strike, and the count goes to 2-1. PEI will not roll over and play dead for anybody here in this tournament. Throw back to second, and getting back in safely is Ford. As Healy, with Ford on base, having to pitch from the stretch for the first time. That one misses high, and the count goes to 3-1. The 3-1 pitch also misses high, ball 4. That puts runners at first and second with nobody out. And here comes Gina Pickering. Pickering from Borden Carleton. Plays with the Kensington Crusaders. The lefty standing in with 2 on and nobody out. There's a called first strike. As Healy able to get ahead in the count early here on Pickering. The right fielder for Team PEI. Swings and misses there. And the count 2-0. Or 0-2. Ford at second. Nicholson at first. And there's a called third strike. Third strikeout for Healy as she catches Pickering looking. That'll bring up Emily Gardner. Gardner standing in. Takes the first pitch high, ball 1. Next pitch, swinging, lined to third, caught and turning the double play. Well executed by Bishop Frizzell, getting the ball over to Dwyer. The line out 5-4 on the double play ends the inning, so 1 run and 1 walk leads to no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and just 1 runner left on base. We've played 2 complete innings, and it remains 11-0 in favor of Newfoundland Labrador. In the top of the third, it'll be Brianna Saunders, followed by the top of the order, Megan Bennett and Hannah Legg. As we again hit refresh, we see the score still showing us 6-4 for New Brunswick over on the other field of play. Again, New Brunswick 0-1 in Pool C action. Prince Edward Island, or Nova Scotia 2, 1-0, tied with Prince Edward Island. And again, this being Pool C, just the top team through round robin will advance to the quarterfinals. Basically, 6 teams move into games to determine 1st through 6th, and 6 teams will move into games to determine 7th through 12th. The top 3 teams from Pool A, which is the 4 provinces that finished in the top 4 spots last year, that being Nova Scotia 1, Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec. 3 of those teams move into the 1 through 6 placement games. The team that finishes 4th moves into the 7 through 12 placement games. As we're seeing a defensive change here for Prince Edward Island. Keogh moves out from being extra hitter to play center field. Surrett comes in from center field to play second. And the second baseman, Alyssa Perry, comes out of the game to be the extra hitter, and I believe it's so that she can start warming up to be the next pitcher for Team Prince Edward Island. At least that is the presumption. Again, 3 teams from Pool A go into the 1 through 6 placement games, and 1 team from Pool A goes down into the 7 through 12. 2 teams from Pool B, which are the teams that finished 5th through 8th last year, go into the top of the placement games, and 2 go into the bottom of the placement games. And then for Pool C, which are the teams that finished 9th through 12th last year, 1 moves into the top 6, and the other 3 into the bottom 6. There's a throw from the shortstop, Gardner, that's a little bit off the mark, and that will allow Saunders to get all the way down to second base. Brianna Saunders reaching on the error to lead off this top of the 3rd inning. That'll bring up Megan Bennett. She's 2 for 2 with a single, a double, 2 RBI, and 2 runs scored. With Newfoundland Labrador leading this one here now 11-0 in this top of the 3rd inning. Runner going with the first pitch. The pitch misses. And Bennett heads down to 3rd. Here's the 1-0. Swung on and missed, and the count goes to 1-1. Saunders at 3rd base, nobody out here, top of inning number 3. And if you're wondering why Newfoundland Labrador is still running on pitches, the objective, you would have to guess, to help save their pitchers. They would like to try and end this game in just 4 innings, if at all possible. And to do that, they would need a 15-run margin. So they need to put a couple more up on the board in order to do that. 3-1 now the count on Bennett. And it's all about saving your pitchers, saving those pitch counts. That pitch misses outside, ball 4, putting runners at the corners with nobody out, and Hannah Legg will come up. Legg walked and scored, and then grounded out in her 2 plate appearances in the first. So technically 0 for 1 with a walk and a run. And as is normally the case with runners on the corners, the runner going with the first pitch, it ends up missing outside, and Bennett gets down to second without a throw. Not that it probably would have drawn a throw regardless, with Saunders standing at 3rd. That pitch ends up catching Legg, and not sure where exactly it caught her, but it did make contact with Legg, so that loads the bases for Jada Lee. Lee was hit by a pitch in the first. She also had an RBI single. Comes up here with the bases loaded and nobody out in the top of the 3rd. Here comes the first pitch, and that one misses outside, ball 1. Saunders at 3rd, Bennett at 2nd, Legg at 1st. Lee at the plate, ahead in the count, 1-0. As Nicholson still working on the mound. There's a strike, and the count goes to 1-1. Nicholson took over on the mound with 1 out in the first. That one misses outside, and the count goes to 2-1. Another one just outside, and the count now 3-1. But give this Prince Edward Island team credit again. Everybody out there on the field is staying focused, trying to stay positive. There's a pitch fouled off, and the count goes 3-2. Nicholson gets herself set and delivers the payoff pitch. That one misses, and Lee walks, which will drive in a run, making it 12-0. Saunders will come in to score. Bennett to third, Legg to second. And that'll bring up Maddie Healy. She's 0 for 2. Struck out and then grounded out in her 2 previous plate appearances. And takes the first pitch strike. Nicholson made the move over to third, but did not end up throwing. Ends up getting Bennett to make her way back to the bag anyway. That one misses inside, and the count goes to 1-1. That one now misses outside, and it's 2-1. As Healy, the pitcher for Newfoundland and Labrador, having a chance to help extend her team's lead, swings and misses there, and the count now 2-2. As Nicholson getting close to 50 pitches there, this being her 46th. And that one foul down the first base side. And the count remains 2-2. Bases loaded, nobody out here, top of the third inning. The 2-2 pitch. And that ends up catching Healy on the hip. And that will drive in another run. So an RBI for Healy, taking one off the hip for the team, and that makes it 13-0. That'll bring up Claire Dwyer. Actually, we'll get a pinch hitter for Dwyer. Summer Mosier will step in as the pinch hitter. And before we get to Summer Mosier, we will have the pitching change, as coming out of the game as pitcher is Ella Nicholson. And we'll see how the defensive realignment plays out here in just a moment, as coming around from the bullpen to make her way in is Alyssa Perry. So Perry, who had been the second baseman up until the start of this half inning, technically moved to extra hitter very briefly, now moves to pitcher, and Ella Nicholson, who had started the game as the extra hitter, came in to pitch, now comes out of the game, or comes out defensively, and will return to her original post of extra hitter. So Alyssa Perry from Harrington PEI, playing her first year of baseball and taking on pitching duties after spending 5 years in softball. And that pitching delivery certainly does not look like a first-year delivery. A very solid pitching stroke there, and anybody who's watched both baseball and softball enough knows the mechanics are so completely different. that for Perry to be stepping in there and pitching at a national tournament in her first year in this game with these mechanics, that's an absolutely stellar statement about her work ethic to learn the mechanics of this position. Summer Mosier will be the first batter that she faces, as Mosier announced as the pinch hitter. Mosier from Corner Brook. Mosier wants to be a pediatrician when she grows up. Again, another one of these players that I look at and I just go, wow. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic outlooks for these young players growing up. So the pitching line on Nicholson, she threw 1 2/3 innings, giving up 5 runs so far. She's also responsible for the 3 runners on base. And Summer Mosier, the left-hander, steps in to face the right-handed throwing Perry, and Perry's first pitch misses just a little bit high, ball 1. 13-0 the scoreline here in the top of the 3rd inning. That one sent down the left field line. It falls foul, and the count goes to 1-1. One ball, 1 strike now on the left-hander. There's a called strike, and the count goes to 1-2. Mackenzie Byrne in the on-deck circle. And here comes the 1-2 pitch. Lined foul down the third base side. And it'll remain 1-2. Again, it's worth mentioning, Perry in her first year in baseball after 5 years of softball, very mechanically sound with her pitching. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3, as Perry gets the first out of the inning. Second strikeout by PEI pitching, and that brings up Mackenzie Byrne. A 3-run double in the first, walked and scored in the second. Has a chance to put more RBI up on the board here with the bases loaded and 1 away. First pitch misses low, ball 1. Perry out there on the mound. Behind in the count here to Byrne, 1-0. Swung on and missed, and the count goes to 1-1. You'd almost forget that earlier today we had some mist and threats of rain and everything else, as now you look around, there's hardly a cloud anywhere in the sky. That pitch misses high, and the count goes to 2-1. We've got what's turning out to be a beautiful afternoon for baseball here at the Joan Lenahan Field. There's a grounder along to the third baseman, and Ford makes the throw across as PEI trades an out for a run, second out of the inning. RBI for Byrne as she drives leg across the plate. It's now 14-0. League takes third. Healy takes second. And Hope Bishop Frizzell actually will be subbed out for a pinch hitter. Madison Lockyer will come in. So Lockyer pinch hitting here in the third. Gets her first plate appearance with 2 on and 2 out as the right-hander steps in. Lockyer from Mount Pearl. That pitch to her misses high, ball 1. Lists her greatest accomplishment as a 97% overall average in grade 9. I mean this with 100% sincerity. Bravo. That is absolutely stellar for Lockyer. A 97% average in grade 9. Wow. That one misses outside, and the count goes to 2-1 on the Academian. That's the right word, isn't it? There's a line shot over the head of the second baseman, Surrett, out to right field. That will score 2 runs. So a 2-run single for Lockyer. That makes it 16-0, if I am doing my math right. Yes, indeed. And that will bring up Joelle Vokey. With Lockyer standing at first base. And the first pitch to Vokey in for a strike. One on, 2 away here, top of the third. That one misses down and outside, and the count goes to 1-1. Quick update on our other game. Still showing as a 6-4 scoreline in favor of New Brunswick over there. That pitch misses high, and the count now 2-1. So if both of these scores hold, New Brunswick leading Nova Scotia 2 and Newfoundland Labrador leading Prince Edward Island, if both of these scores hold, all 4 teams in this pool will be 1-1 heading into tomorrow. Count now 3-1 on Vokey. And that will make for some very interesting scenarios for tomorrow, because no matter what happens, 2 teams will end up 2-1, 2 teams will end up 1-2, and only one of those teams that's 2-1 will end up with a chance to move into the top tier, the top 6 playdowns, as Vokey earns a walk. Holly Russell, I believe they just announced a pinch hitter, but I didn't catch the number. As the first pitch misses high. Number 19, Abby Woodman, pinch hitting for Russell. That pitch misses, and the count goes to 2-0 on Woodman. Woodman from Torbay. Originally from Ontario, lived there till she was about 5, then moved to Newfoundland Labrador. That one misses down in the dirt, and the count now 3-0. So the way it would work is it would depend on which two teams win. Of the two teams that finish 2-1, again, if the New Brunswick score holds and if this score holds, the two teams that would finish 2-1, first tiebreaker would be head-to-head. That pitch misses high, and I believe the count now. I believe we're looking at 3-1. Vokey gets down to second, and Lockyer down to third with the pitch that missed and went to the backstop. And here comes the pitch. There's a strike. As we get a confirmation that the count is now full, 3-2 here on Woodman. Perry gets ready to deliver, and that one misses ball 4. That will load the bases again and bring up Brianna Saunders for her second plate appearance this inning. As Saunders reached on an error to start this third, came around to score. She also walked and scored back in the first. Saunders up with the bases loaded and 2 away. That one catches the bottom of the zone for a called strike 1. Bases loaded, 2 out here in the top of the third inning. Perry gets herself set and fires. That one will miss high. 1-1 the count. And for these two, or for the 4 teams that are in Pool C, they'll be playing the games at noon and 12:30 tomorrow. That one misses in the dirt. And the count goes to 2-1. Lockyer leading off third, Vokey off second, Woodman off first. And the pitch. That one misses as well, and it's now 3-1. Another pinch hitter in the on-deck circle, Julia Chipman. If Saunders keeps this inning going. And a grounder down to first. Bobbled momentarily, but getting there in time for out number 3 is McDonald, and that will do it for the top of the third inning. 5 more runs on the board on two hits, 1 error, and the bases left loaded. And we've played 2.5, and the score is 16-0 for Newfoundland Labrador over Prince Edward Island. And with the pinch hitters that we saw in the top of the third, we'll try. Actually, 1 hit and 2 errors, sorry. And so now we'll take a look around and see what our defensive alignment looks like. Abby Woodman is playing first base for Holly Russell, for whom she pinch hit. Summer Mosier is at second base for Claire Dwyer, for whom she pinch hit. And just looking to confirm that Madison Lockyer is indeed at third base for Hope Bishop Frizzell, for whom she pinch hit. So in all three cases, it was a straight swap in the defensive position for the player for whom they hit, which makes things a little bit easier to track. As we head to the bottom of the third inning, it's Kirsten Rogers, Katie McDonald, and Alyssa Perry due up for PEI. And then it'd be back around to the top of the order for Lily Atkins. As Healy continues her warm-up pitches. Again, for these four teams in Pool C, PEI and Nova Scotia 2. PEI will play Nova Scotia 2 on Robert Lenahan Field tomorrow at noon. New Brunswick and Newfoundland Labrador will play at 12:30 on this field. And depending on the outcomes of those games and these ones still here as well, first pitch to Rogers misses low, ball one, would determine what we're looking at. That one popped up. First base side of the infield, getting underneath it to make the catch is the pitcher Healy for the first out. And that will bring up Katie McDonald. Again, a quick check of the scoreboard on that other diamond. According to what I'm seeing here, it is still 6-4 New Brunswick over Nova Scotia 2. There's a pitch on the outside corner to McDonald, the count 0-1. Swung on and missed. Actually, and I missed a pitch, as that's a strikeout, fourth K for Healy, and two away for Alyssa Perry. Perry stepping in with nobody on and two away here. Bottom of inning number 3. Swung on and missed. And so many first pitch strikes for Healy here this afternoon. That one misses high and the count goes to 1-1. We've got one more game left to go after this one here on Joan Lenahan Field. It'll be BC and Manitoba. That one misses inside, 2-1 the count. BC coming off of a victory over Quebec 2 earlier this afternoon. Manitoba coming off of a loss to Saskatchewan. That one misses outside, and it's now 3-1. Lily Atkins, the catcher, in the on-deck circle if PEI can keep this inning going. There's a soft liner over the head of the shortstop leg, and that will put Perry aboard for Lily Atkins. Atkins struck out to lead off the bottom of the first. So 0-1 here with 2 away in the third. But before we get there, we get a quick check of the pitch count. And looks like that was pitch number 36, which means Healy would not be available tomorrow. And I believe but not sure. Well, they're going to leave Healy out there. So, and again, that's where it gets into the, okay, you get to finish the at-bat kind of situation. As the first pitch to Atkins misses down and outside and gets past the catcher Lee, and Perry able to head down to second. And there's a grounder right back to Healy, and she'll throw it over to first for the third out of the inning. So a 2-out single for Prince Edward Island does not convert into any runs. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We've played 3 complete. Newfoundland Labrador leading at 16-0. Due up in the top of the 4th, we start at the top of the order. It's Megan Bennett, Hannah Legg, and Jada Lee. As we see some defensive changes for Prince Edward Island, now playing second base is Michaela Taylor. So she, I assume, is replacing Victoria Surrett. As out in center field is number 7. Who's 7? Georgia Gallant is now in center, as I missed her on my sheet. So Georgia Gallant now playing out in center. Michaela Taylor now playing second base. Oops. And again, with our broadcast position well away from the scorekeepers and PA announcers and the rest of the off-field officials, Gabriella Livingston now playing third. It's incumbent upon me to catch all these changes for myself as they happen. So Gardner still at short. McDonald still at first. Perry still on the mound. Looks like it's no longer Atkins behind the plate. I believe that might be... Oh no, that is still Atkins behind the plate. Gallant is out in center. Still Pickering in right. Or no, that's Emily Albert now in right. And up at the plate, batting for Megan Bennett, is Julia Chipman. So Chipman gets her first at bat of the game and is ahead in the count here, 2-0. There's a strike, and the count now 2-1 on Chipman. That one misses low, and now I believe we're at 3-1. And again, I've been so busy trying to identify all the players out on the field with so many changes. That one misses high, ball 4. And a leadoff walk to Chipman. And that will bring up Victoria Hull as a pinch hitter. And I assume if last inning for Newfoundland Labrador was any indication, these will be straight defensive changes as well. And the first pitch to Hull gets away from the catcher. And heading down to second base is Chipman. 16-0 the scoreline here in the top of the fourth. If the margin remains 15 or greater, then the game will end after this fourth inning. 2-0 the count here on Hull. That one's going to get away again, and Chipman will head down to third. 3-0 the count. As Madeline Arsenault is now identified as the player out in left field. There's a strike, and the count goes to 3-1. And I believe there may have been one other defensive change as well. Just trying to tell for sure. There's a walk. That'll put runners on the corners. And that'll bring up Steph Pauley, who will bat for Jada Lee. Swing and a miss. And heading down to second is Hull. And here comes the 0-1. That misses low, 1-1 the count. I believe that may be Karis Jelly behind the plate now for Lily Atkins. Just trying to get confirmation of that. There's a strike, and the count goes to 1-2. No, that's still 11. That is Atkins behind the plate still. Swing and a miss. And there's the first strikeout of the inning. And second strikeout for Perry since taking over on the mound. That'll bring up another pinch hitter, Kayla Muzu. Pinch hitting for Maddie Healy. As Newfoundland Labrador trying to make sure everybody gets into the lineup here. First pitch to Musu. And again, if I'm mispronouncing a name, I do apologize. That first pitch misses, and the count goes to 1-0. The 1-0 from Perry. That catches the inside corner, and the count 1-1. Summer Mosier, who pinch hit in the last inning, waiting in the on-deck circle for her second at-bat, with runners on second and third and one away. That one out to center field. It will drop in front of the center fielder Gallant. Coming over to help out is Albert, and that will score two more, making it 18-0. As Mousseau gets a 2 RBI single. That will bring up Mosier. She's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And here comes the first pitch to Mosier. That misses down and in and gets away, allowing Mousseau to get down to second. Meanwhile, over on that other diamond, Nova Scotia 2 now leads New Brunswick 13-10. So that game going back and forth. Mosier now ahead in the count, 2-0. That one misses outside, gets past Atkins, and heading down to third is Mousseau. A reminder, we've got one more game coming from this field at 6:30 this evening. It'll be British Columbia taking on Manitoba. There's a strike, and the count now 3-1 on Mosier. Mackenzie Byrne standing in the on-deck circle. That one sent over the head of the shortstop out to left field. That'll drive in another run as Mosier gets an RBI single. And it is 19-0. That'll bring up, as mentioned, Byrne. She's 2 for 3 with a single, a double, and 4 RBI. 2 runs scored. And comes up with a runner on first and 1 away. First pitch misses high, ball 1. Perry delivers, swung on and missed, and the count goes to 1-1. One ball, one strike, 1 on, 1 out here in the top of the fourth. That one just gets through the third baseman. Throw over to first, not quite in time. The ball gets away from the first baseman. That allows the runner, Mosier, to get all the way down to third. So Byrne will reach on the error. And we'll have runners on the corners as Lockyer comes back up to the plate. She had a 2-run single her first time up. Comes up with runners on the corners. And the first pitch to Lockyer misses. Another one just outside, and the count now 2-0 here on Lockyer. As Perry continues to work her way through. There's the pitch. There's a strike. And the count goes to 1-2, or 2-1. Joelle Vokey in the on-deck circle. And Katie Penny, the only member of Team Newfoundland Labrador not to appear in this game as of yet. That pitch misses in the dirt, gets to the backstop, and Byrne heads down to second. And the count goes to 3-1 on Lockyer. Perry gets herself set and delivers. There's a grounder to the second baseman. Throw to first in time as Taylor gets the throw over to McDonald for the second out. A run comes in to score, so Lockyer gets her third RBI of the afternoon. And that'll bring up Joelle Vokey with now 2 away, and Madison Byrne standing at third base. Vokey 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. And again, a reminder for Perry, there's a strike. For Perry, this is her first year playing baseball. Alyssa Perry has played softball for 5 years, but the mechanics of pitching softball and pitching baseball are so completely different. So this is her first year as a pitcher, and she is doing, for a first-year pitcher, she is doing a fantastic job out there. 1-1 the count. And she's been put in kind of a tough position here as that pitch misses low. She's up now to 58 pitches. And it's sort of, okay, this is your game to finish. And this is going to be your game, as she's now at the point where she will need 2 days of rest. So would not be available to pitch again until Sunday. That one misses outside, and the count now 3-1. And so it's sort of one of those things of, okay, and you've got the feeling that even if she gets to 65 pitches, she's going to stay out there and throw that number 66, which means she wouldn't be available for the rest of the tournament. That one misses outside, ball 4, putting runners at the corners and bringing up Abby Woodman. Or perhaps we will see a pitching change. And it looks like we will indeed, as Perry comes out. Coming in is Pickering. Which means Emily Albert has to come back out of the game, because Albert came in Pickering's spot. So Albert has to come out. Pickering comes back in to take over on the mound. Taylor, who was playing second base, now goes out to right field. And Perry, who was pitching, now goes, who had started at second base, came in to pitch, now goes back out to resume her spot at second base. Again, a reminder, the way the run rule works, if the game is a margin of 15 or greater at the end of this fourth inning, and of course PEI gets their chance to bat in the bottom of the fourth, that would be the ball game. If the margin is 10 or greater at the end of the fifth, that would also mark the end of a ball game. As Gina Pickering making her first pitching appearance of this tournament. Pickering played some third base and some right field in the opener, played right field to start this game, and now comes in to pitch. So Prince Edward Island will have Alyssa Perry available to them on Sunday, should they need her. And the first batter that Pickering will face will be Abby Woodman, who walked her first time up and takes a first pitch strike from Pickering. Here's the 0-1. There's a called strike two, as Katie Penny, the last player to await getting into the lineup, is in the on-deck circle here with 2 away. 1-2 now the count on Woodman. And you would think that Penny will get into the game defensively in the bottom of the inning, regardless of whether she gets to the plate or not. That misses outside, 2-2 the count. As got to give Newfoundland and Labrador credit, they have made sure that everybody gets in and everybody has pinch hit for the person who plays the position that they play. There's a grounder foul down the third baseline, or first baseline, excuse me, and the count will remain 2-2. They're still playing over on the other diamond, so that scoreline of 13-10 is not a final. It is still where we stand, however, or at least that's the most recent score that we have posted. That pitch misses high, and the count now runs full on Woodman. So if Nova Scotia can hold on to win that game, they'd improve to 2-0. New Brunswick would fall to 0-2. There's a foul tip into the dirt, and the count will remain 3-2. If this score holds, both of these teams would be 1-1, and they need to have all kinds of scenarios for what might happen tomorrow, as PEI has Nova Scotia 2 left on their schedule. There's a called third strike as Woodman goes down looking. But in the top of the fourth, 4 more runs for Newfoundland Labrador. They get those runs on 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on base. We've played 3.5. And the score 20-0 in favor of Newfoundland Labrador. Actually, they called that one a hit. So 4 runs on 3 hits and no errors. So they're calling that an infield single. And I do stand correct, which is always a nice feeling, as Katie Penny goes out to take center field. Abby Woodman is still at first base. So now that we've seen several changes here for Newfoundland and Labrador, let's set the defense again for you here. Julia Chipman is now playing left, Katie Penny in center. In right field, it remains Joelle Vokey. Around the infield, third base being manned by Madison Lockyer. Shortstop, Victoria Hull. Second base is Summer Mosier. First base is Abby Woodman. Behind the plate is Steph Pauley. And on the mound is Victoria Hull. Actually, Hull is on the mound. So one change there. And Kayla Mousseau is at short. So one minor distinction there. Mousseau goes to short, And Hull comes in to pitch after 3 complete innings from the starting pitcher, Maddie Healy. It's now Victoria Hull on to finish, or to play the 4th inning. And unless unless Prince Edward Island puts up 6 runs in this inning, this will be the final half inning of the game. And leading off, it'll be Georgia Gallant. Gallant getting her first plate appearance of the game after coming in as a defensive replacement in the top of this inning. So Gallant steps in for the first time. And the first pitch to her misses low, ball 1. That one misses high, and the count now 2-0. As Hull making her first appearance on the mound in this game. The right-hander throwing from the full windup. Misses inside, and the count now 3-0. Here comes the 3-0 pitch from Hull. That misses high, ball 4. And Gallant will get the leadoff walk. That'll bring up Michaela Taylor. Taylor getting her first at-bat of this game. Runner going with the first pitch. Grounder down to the pitcher. And Hull with the throw down to first. 1 away. Gallant takes second on the play. And that'll bring up Gabriella Livingston. Livingston making her first plate appearance in this game with 1 away and 1 on here in the 4th. She came in as a defensive replacement for Selena Ford. Swings and misses. And Hull is ahead in the count here, 0-1. Chorus Jelly in the on-deck circle. There's a strike and an attempted steal, which leads to an out. 2-5 on the putout there. And Prince Edward Island down to their last out. 1-1 the count. I don't know, was that the umpire correcting himself? And yes, it was. He went from 1-1 to 0-2. And there's strike 3, and that will do it for the ball game. Team Newfoundland and Labrador dominate in a 20-0 4-inning victory over Team Prince Edward Island. We'll get the handshakes and the presentations of the players of the game, and then we'll take a break and get you ready for our next game, which is scheduled for an hour from now. So we'll have a bit of a break here on this field. Our next game on this field will be British Columbia and Quebec 2, if my memory serves correctly. British Columbia and Manitoba, excuse me. And so, as we get the handshakes, the final score once again, Newfoundland, Labrador. One of those games where everything goes right, and for Prince Edward Island, one of those games where nothing quite bounces their way. A 20-0 victory for the players from Newfoundland, Labrador. PEI now 1-1 on the tournament. Newfoundland, Labrador also 1-1. A few players you could choose for player of the game for Newfoundland, Labrador. How about the pitching performance of starting pitcher Maddie Healy? She was solid on the mound. Number of players had great days at the plate, including Mackenzie Byrne. For PEI, I really liked Alyssa Perry. I liked what she accomplished on the mound there. And, you know, you could also look at... And it is indeed Alyssa Perry. Again, to remember that she's in her first year of baseball and those pitching mechanics so completely different. And Hope Bishop Frizzell is the player of the game for Newfoundland Labrador. Bishop Frizzell had a monster day at the plate, driving in 4 runs with a single, a double, a ground out that led to a run. She also reached on an error. So solid game for both of those players. That's going to do it for this one until about an hour from now, when we bring you British Columbia and Manitoba. This is Michael Petter saying, may your pitches hit the corners, may your liners hit the gaps. The final score once again, Newfoundland and Labrador improved to 1-1 with a victory 20-0 over Team PEI. PEI dropping to 1-1. We'll be back in about an hour. Thanks for tuning in.